Okay, we have another C-class race today at Silverstone in Great Britain. And in qualifying, I used this Mitsubishi in qualifying. But I actually ended up switching over and um, using my Mazda MX-5 in the race. But this qualifying section is done with this Mitsubishi. And it's clearly either a Japanese or a British version of the Mitsubishi, because the steering wheel is over on the right hand side. And I get around the track pretty good in this Mitsubishi, although I completely miscalculate that corner right there, and that pretty severely hampers my qualifying time. And you can hear the tires squeaking there. It's just I'm right on the edge of grip in this thing, which is one of the main reasons why I decided to switch over. I ended up qualifying fourth, um, although that ended up being sixth by the time the end of the qualifying section was over. Um, and as a result of switching cars, I actually got moved even further back into, I think, eighth place, I believe. So we got a Miata, a BMW, a Mitsubishi, an Eclipse, a Nissan Fairlady Z, and there I am in seventh place. Another BMW, a Mercedes, a Subaru BRZ, and back to yours truly, waiting for the race to start. This car actually has race tires, so I'm able to like dive through the corners a little bit better, but there are certain drawbacks like the tall gearing, and I can't get off the line very good, and that allows a lot of people to get past me at the start of the race. And so I actually drop all the way back to 14th place. Hopefully I can regain some of those spots. I get past a couple of people here. That Mazda knocks into me pretty heavy duty. And there's Subaru. And what is that, a Honda Civic? He flies past me like I'm not even there. I'm able to duck underneath these guys, get around the Subaru on the outside, a little bit of a traffic jam here, and I'm able to duck underneath all of those guys heading out onto this straightaway section. But that Subaru and this Honda that comes around the outside of me on the left. I'm trying to keep the revs up in this car because with the tall gearing, you have to keep it in the power band. And this little Eclipse, is that what that is? An Eclipse or a 2000 GT or something? It's a Mitsubishi. So going down this straightaway section, these guys are pulling away from me, so I'm kind of, at this point, I'm kind of rethinking my decision on having better tires as opposed to a little bit more speed. But with the tires, I'm able to carve harder through those corners like that, and I can get underneath these guys, but they have more speed heading out onto these little straightaway sections. So if I'm going to get past these guys, I have to do it in the corners. And I completely misjudged that one and end up sliding and losing time. And that little Miata, he gets past me. I just don't have a whole lot of straightaway speed in this car. I'm kind of cutting that corner there. I didn't get a penalty, but I certainly cut that corner. And so here we are on the 4th lap. I'm not really able to rein these guys in. That Subaru made a bit of a mistake, and that allowed me to kind of get up to him. And then I go off track there, and he slams into me. I get a penalty for going off track. No penalty for the collision. And he's coming up on my left side. And I make a little contact with him again, and I try to get around the outside of him, but I'm not able to. And I get out of that corner better than he did, but he's right back on my rear bumper. And he has more speed down these straight sections than I do. And he slams into me. I'm able to keep it from sliding out of control. And he's coming up on my rear end again, hot and heavy. But I think I can get through this corner better than he can. And I'm able to gain enough space to hopefully keep him at bay behind me. But he is faster in these straightaway sections. But I can get through the corners better than he can. Now I kind of lose a little bit right there, but I try to get back on the throttle as fast as I can to try and pull away from this guy to keep him as far behind me as possible. And these people in front of me as of right now, it's really not looking like I'm going to be able to catch him. I got about a lap and a half left, so we'll see how this goes. I can gain some time on them through the corners, but like I mentioned earlier, this little Mazda really doesn't have a whole lot of straightaway speed because of the tall gearing that's in it. Because I do have a race clutch in this car, but it's still the stock transmission. So it's not like a close ratio racing transmission. Because there's certain kind of trade-offs that you have to do when you're doing upgrades or modifications to the car. And on this particular one, I went with better tires as opposed to a better transmission. But this is the final lap, and I don't see anybody in my rearview mirror, and it doesn't look like I'm catching these guys in front of me. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, I'm probably going to end up 11th. Now that Porsche 940 924 up there, I think if there was maybe one or two more laps in this race, I might have been able to catch that guy. But that's the conclusion of the race at Silverstone in my Mazda MX-5. I hope you liked it, and I will see you on the racetrack.